my mom was, in reality, she was just like my pusher, you know what I'm saying? But she just kept me, like, I'd get home from school and my cigarettes would be on the, she'd buy my cigarettes, she'd have me some medicine laid out for the day, and so
she kept you on a steady
provision
of opiates?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was Oxycontin.
And
you were 14.
Beginning. Yeah, or Vicodin or
whatever she had.
opiates,
Let's be honest about recovery.
The rewards, the challenges.
Let's talk about our failures. We are flawed people, after all.
Let's challenge the stigmas that weigh us down.
Because while most of us are looked at, few of us are seen.
Let's talk about addiction.
And how Christ overcomes our weaknesses.
Because we are loved.
Because we are loved.
Because we are loved.
We are loved.
We are because loved. We are loved.
My name is Zach Buckalew. This is my wife, Ashley. I was raised in a broken home to addicted parents, and unfortunately followed their path through a life of just chaos and addiction for about 30 plus years. And the Lord entered my life and intervened about 4 years ago and dramatically changed me.
I grew up in a broken home of two young parents who really didn't know how to do life. Trauma entered my life at a very young age, about the age of 5, and it led to a life of addiction later on in my life. Jesus ordered my steps even when I was lost, and he saved me, and now I live for him.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Jesus Loves Addicts. We're glad you're here. It's been a nice little 2-week break. So I've just been informed this is actually going to be our third showing in 2026, but it's our first recording. So we're excited to be back in these seats with some new guests. We have Mr. Zach and Mrs. Ashley Buckalew with us. And I really appreciate them being here and listening to your introductions. They both come from similar backgrounds in the sense that there were some chaotic homes. Look forward to kind of hearing a little bit more about that. Zach comes from a history of a 30-year addiction, is now about 4+ years sober, while Ashley was involved in a 17-year addiction and is about 5 years sober now. So I know I'm putting the cart in front of the horse a little bit here, but just really quick, how did you guys meet? I meant to ask you this earlier. Did you guys meet in treatment, or was it
a tent revival?
A tent revival. Okay. So you were both already in recovery? Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. So we'll get the snapshot, a foreshadowing of things to come. So I look forward to hearing
feeling that
about
tent revival has something to do with your shirt, the Theodore Church of God.
Well, actually, it was the 40 nights that Northside held in the back of Northside. I think Ryan Lantaf and some of his people put it together.
Okay.
And it was, our church did go there, though, but it was before our church was our church.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. So I was just mentioning that there is some similarity in your early stories, at least by way of introduction. I'm sure there's some differences as we dig up that soil, right? So who wants to go first? How about women first? We'll do ladies first here. Can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing and the chaos you're talking about?
Well, I know you mentioned trauma at 5, and that's an early age, and of course that caught my attention. So,
so my parents were young. My mom is, she doesn't come from addiction. She never struggled with addiction. Both of her parents were in the home for most of her life. They ended up getting a divorce later, but she had a good upbringing. Yeah. She was active in sports, and my dad was the exact opposite. He come from a troubled home. He lived, actually, when they met, he lived with his older sister, or maybe his younger. The thing about that is, I don't really know much. We don't talk about that, because there is so much stuff. They met, and my mom had me. She was 18. My dad was 19.
They were still kids.
Yeah.
Kids who had no idea how to do life, And so it's a generational pattern, right, that just continued, right? So in my home, there was a lot of sexual perversion, not from my parents, but from my cousins. And it started at age 5 with my older cousin. I was exposed to it. And I remember I was so young because I had to go to counseling and I had to draw pictures and like, I just won't forget that.
Yeah.
So it continued throughout.
Even after the counseling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So not just exposed to it, but a victim of it. Is
Absolutely.
fair to say? Okay.
Absolutely.
And that continued till you.
My whole adolescence.
Did they live in the neighborhood? Did they live in the house?
It was,
what was the proxy?
Like we would go there for summers, or my one cousin would come over whenever, you know, and I didn't really know that I had no idea what was happening.
Yeah.
I had no idea that this is a spiritual thing that we fight. So I had no idea that things were attaching to me. It makes sense now.
Yeah.
How my life
Looking
went
back.
after that.
Yeah.
I became very promiscuous when I was young.
Sure.
Because I thought that's how you express love.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that made sense to me.
Right.
I didn't think it was dirty or bad. I thought that's just what you do. And when I was 16, I was very promiscuous, very fast. I loved to entertain boys, but I never had any follow through, right? Like I just might kiss you or something, but I'm not going to go through with everything. But when I was 16, I invited a boy over from school and I smoked some weed with him.
Is that the first time you had tried drugs?
The first time I tried weed, yeah, I think that is the first time. And he had a blunt. We smoked it, and I lived in an apartment building where there was a front and a back entrance. And next thing you know, you heard a loud noise, and there was about 5 guys running up the steps. So he set me up. It's probably the most traumatic thing that had ever happened to me. They were grown men. I mean, to me, I was 16. They were probably 19, 20-year-old men. And it was very traumatic. I still remember details that were horrific about it. They took advantage of me. They told me if I told, they would do the same thing to my mom and that they would kill me. So I didn't tell, but the crazy thing is my little brother was in the house. He ran out of the house and he had a shotgun. And they took it from him. And I told him, don't tell. I said, please don't tell. Please don't tell. And so we're 4 years apart. So imagine that. Like I might have been a little younger. I was probably about 15, I think. Because when the case went, I was probably about 15. I try to block that out, like the dates and the ages and stuff like that. It's real hard for me to remember a lot of stuff. But I know that's when my life pivoted.
Yeah.
I really didn't care anymore at this point. Like, I just felt like this is how it was going to be. And I felt like it was my fault because I invited that boy.
I was going to ask you.
You know, like I accepted that. Like I asked for it, you know, kind
I deserved
of thing.
this.
And it confused me.
I'm sure.
You know, I wasn't sure if it really wasn't my fault. And so
I would say at that point, your truth was that it was your fault.
Absolutely.
And it really didn't matter if anybody told you otherwise. This is what you truly believed.
Oh, absolutely. And it got worse. They stole alcohol out of my mom's liquor cabinet, and that's how it came out because the neighbor told her that I had boys over. She saw the liquor missing, and she wanted to know, and she wanted to know now what happened. And I got scared, and I told her. She called the sheriff.
I bet she was.
You know, I don't really remember. You know, I know that I don't think she knew what to think.
I don't know.
Was Dad still present?
No. My parents got divorced when I was 9 years old.
Okay.
As a mom with girls, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
There's not a rule book for that.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things I feel like as a parent, is you don't.
No. Yeah.
It's not going to happen. That happens elsewhere.
Yeah, and so I felt like I invited it into my home.
Yeah.
You know, by my bad choices because I was continually making bad choices at this time in my life.
Well, you know, it's interesting, and I'm going to say something because I love that you're bringing this up already about the choices and things. You know, the truth is we are, how do I put that? I don't know. For lack of a better word, we're guilty of the bad choices we make, but that doesn't make us responsible for the bad actions others take. You're not responsible for what those boys chose to do. We are responsible. You know, we made bad choices. Sometimes it's understandable that we would. We were raised where we were conditioned that those are the only choices we know how to make. So there's lots of things to look at here, but in no way, shape, or form does it make you responsible. Whether it was a horrible, a really bad choice or not, does not make you responsible for somebody else's bad choice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so it's really, and I know you probably already know that by now, right? Yeah, so
I do
But
now.
at 15, you didn't.
Yeah.
I just remember like so much like, man, just, I don't know. I just like chaos, you know what I mean? In my mind.
Sure.
And
Well, it's what was familiar.
yeah.
And the calm is boring, and we don't know what to do in calm.
Yeah.
So your mom called the sheriff. What did that look like?
So they came, and they blamed it on me. It came down
They blamed it on you?
like what was my favorite color. Because, let me give some background. I think that it was the time period that we were in. It was North Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama. And I think that a lot of gang things were happening. That's the only thing that I can think of.
Well, when he was asking, now I see where you went.
Yeah,
with
so he was
colors.
asking about my favorite color.
Was it red or blue?
Because I got gang raped. That's what happened. Right. So was I willingly trying to get into a gang? That was kind of where it was trying to go to. I remember sitting. So immediately my mom took me to my aunt's. That was my safe place. You know, my aunt, she was not my mom, so she didn't have to treat me like that. You're right. You know, those aunts that you have. And she loved me so good and just took me to counseling. And, you know, I had to get away from it, you know, and I can't imagine my mom was just dealt this, you know, a single mom trying to do the best that she could do. And she has 2 children, not just one. My brother had severe behavioral problems. So it was a lot, you know. And I was always the good kid until I wasn't.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I held it in. My mom said something fundamental to me the other day, and I don't even think she realized what she said, but she said, Ashley never talked about it. Which is surprising probably to many people that know me now. Yeah. But that's why I'm so vocal now.
Yeah. Oh, so
Because I
you've
was
made
sick
an
inside.
intentional switch from silence to being vocal. Yeah.
I'm free. You know?
Amen.
Like, I don't have anything to hide. And it's just, I felt like I had to stay hidden then. I was ashamed of myself, you know? I went to counseling. It was called the Little House, is what it was called. And it was this little house. And I don't really remember much about the counseling. You know what I mean? To be honest, it's weird. I try to think back about, but I don't remember stuff. Yeah.
Well, I think sometimes that's a knee-jerk reaction to put the child into counseling, but they may not be ready for it, right? They're still so...
Like, you got to talk about all that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know, and so...
And I probably didn't really talk much. And to be honest, this is the most I've talked about it since I was about 17 and had to talk about it. Yeah. You know? What ended up happening is I sat in front of a grand jury. They took the case, and they took so long. Like, all this stuff happened, it had to happen. Well, at that time, life was going on. I had started running away from home, and at this time, we lived in Athens, Alabama. Well, my dad lived in Morgantown, West Virginia, where we were from. So my mom, I told her I wanted to go live with him. I probably told her I hated her and, you know, all the things, and that I wanted to live with my dad. And she sent me up there.
So had he been a presence? I know he's in Morgantown, but had you been communicating via phone and stuff like that? He wasn't?
No.
So there wasn't really much of a connection. So all of a sudden he gets a notice that you want to come up and live with him.
Yeah. So my dad struggled with his own addiction. When he got older, he got in a very bad car accident with his best friend, and his best friend died. And they put my dad on pain medicine. He had to get 3 hip replacements. He was bound to a hospital bed at home, and they started giving him all this medicine, this pain medicine. And, you know, he already had that generational pattern, right? So it just...
You gave him that and it was over with.
Yeah, it just, he got a lot of money, a big settlement. And he met a new lady and they got married. The last time that me and my brother, it was very, I don't even know why we didn't see him that much before that. But during that, when he got married, my stepmom was not very fond of us. Because, I was a daddy's girl regardless. Like, I would do anything for my dad, period. Like, it didn't matter. And I know that he wasn't always right, but I didn't care. That was my daddy,
Well, there was probably some innate desire for a strong male.
Absolutely.
For a daddy, right?
Absolutely. And when he was there, he was so good to me, right? Yeah. And that's what I remembered. And so that hurt, and we didn't see him. We went up there for 2 weeks out of a summer, and one of the weeks he chose to go on his honeymoon. And so that crushed me. Like, you don't ever get to see us. This is the one time out of the year, and you choose that.
Take this one?
Yeah, and so I remember that,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I will say this, me and my dad's relationship is great. He's saved, he's set free, he's not in drug addiction. He's been clean longer than me. But, these are things that happen.
Sure.
And I know that he, is sorry about it. Like, you know what I mean? I know he is. I forgave him a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so when I went up there to live with him, but he was in the grips of his addiction. Yeah. And no one knew that. He didn't even have a place to live. So I went up there and ended up living with a friend of ours that we were friends our whole life. Like, you know how your parents have those friends that they've been friends with since you were a kid.
You call them your aunt and they're not.
Yeah,
and all of that.
Yep. So I went to live with them because that's where my dad was in and out, right? If he needed somewhere to crash. And of course they were going to take me in because Dorothy was the sweetest lady ever. She will do anything for anybody, still to this day. That is my boys. I have 2 boys. That's their grandma.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So wasn't then, none of that was going on yet, right? But what happens when a 17-year-old girl moves in with a teenage boy?
Yeah.
He was living there too, I knew him since I was a little kid, but he was living there. I think he was 18 or 19. He's a couple years older than me. But I was 17 and I was pregnant by him when they called me about this case, this rape case, and wanted me. So this is what happened. He ended up raping another girl in a high school hallway. And now they wanted
to do something.
And I said no. I said, I'm pregnant. I'm 14 hours away. My life is completely different. And I hung up the phone and I just didn't talk about it, and life went on from there.
I'd like to take a moment to recognize a major podcast sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by America's Thrift Stores, your go-to option for decluttering and giving back. If you have a closet bursting at the seams or a garage that's seen better days, we've got the perfect solution for you.
That's right. America's Thrift Stores makes it easy to clear out the clutter and make a positive impact in your community. Whether you're cleaning out your wardrobe, downsizing your living space, or just looking to give back, America's Thrift Stores has you covered.
And here's the best part. You've got options. Schedule a hassle-free home pickup, drop off your items at one of their convenient donation sites, or swing by an America's Thrift Store to donate in person. No matter which way you choose, you're making a difference.
Absolutely. Every donation you make to America's Thrift Stores directly benefits charities in your area, such as the Home of Grace and other fantastic organizations dedicated to helping those in need.
For example, donations made to America's Thrift Stores in southern Mississippi help the Home of Grace provide support and assistance to individuals facing drug and alcohol addiction. Your contributions make a real impact on their mission to provide freedom from addiction through Christ-centered recovery. So not only are you decluttering your life, but you're also helping build a stronger and more supportive community.
It's truly a double blessing. So what are you waiting for? Clean out that closet, clear out that garage, and make a positive difference in your community by donating to America's Thrift Stores.
Visit America's Thrift Stores online to schedule a home pickup, locate a donation site near you, or get directions to one of their store locations.
America's Thrift Stores, where giving back never goes out of style.
I mean, I'm not sure if it really did, but
Right.
I shut down.
Yeah.
You know?
Were you also using up there in Morgantown? Was that part of this? You were not using?
No.
Okay.
No.
So there was a stint earlier on at 16. You say you're introduced
Smoked
to
a little bit of weed,
marijuana,
couple
but
times.
nothing has caught you yet.
I probably smoked it. I can count on one hand.
Yeah.
I had a bad experience. Like, I thought my heart was, I got way too high. And my heart was like beating out of my chest. And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, no, I'm
not
I don't want
doing
it.
this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I might drink it sometimes, like at a party or something. But
Yeah.
that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Let me ask you another, since you're brave enough to talk about this, and thank you,
Absolutely.
because I think it's so important that people hear this, because you are clearly a survivor, right? I mean,
Thank
a
you.
strong vocal survivor. So
Thank
amen
you.
for that. And people need that voice. You mentioned something that was interesting, though. You said that you became promiscuous and framed it in a work that, like, that's how you made connection with boys, kind of. I'm paraphrasing that.
Yeah.
That almost insinuates value, and certainly that can be one of the distortions that happens there, right? We think that's the value. But I'm wondering, too, if the opposite is true, truly just asking, I would think that there's just as much a risk, or maybe even a bouncing back and forth, that it becomes completely valueless. There is, right? Why not? There's just no value to it. So it's just kind of like a handshake, right? I mean, did that ever become sort of meaningless?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I felt almost like I was playing them. Like I'm getting my get back. Like you think that I can.
I'm winning. You think that you
think that
are,
you're
but it's
using
me.
Yeah.
but I'm using you. Because you're going to get what you want, but I'm getting something too. Know
Right.
that, you know, and that kind of was my attitude about it. Like, and meanwhile, I want to say that I did not know about Jesus.
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't grow up like that. Didn't go to church, right?
Sure.
So I really thought that this was it. Like, this was your point.
This is why you're here.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
It
I was
doesn't
so
get better.
angry, and I wanted revenge, right?
Well, that happened, but you didn't have any like shining examples. You just
Absolutely
you didn't.
not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Why would you even think there was something more?
Yeah.
So it became almost both self-medication and a weapon, right? And so there are some components there of addiction. Do you think sex became an addiction?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So it begins.
Yeah.
Not chemically,
Had
but
no
it begins.
idea.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah. Amen. Again, thank you for diving into that. Such an important topic. Are we okay? I don't want to make an abrupt change, but we're well into
let's do
your
it.
upper teen years, and I kind of want to parallel your husband's now and
Yeah.
kind of see, before we get into kind of that road
I was
out.
getting
of
into
where
He was
you
like,
are,
I'm
right?
invested. We're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do
Go through
it.
Ashley.
All right, Zach.
What did your upbringing look like? And because again, you both mentioned chaos.
Yeah, and brokenness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my mother was addicted, and my father was also addicted. They
They were married when you came. Okay.
Yeah, they we were born in Demopolis, Alabama, a little small town,
Demopolis?
Marengo County, Alabama. Yeah, I don't.
I was trying to say it. Demopolis. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I had a baby brother 2 years younger than me, and I was the firstborn. And so they were very chaotic. My mother was addicted to pain medication. She eventually died from methadone Xanax overdose. And
How old are you when that happened?
when my mother passed away, I was in my upper 20s, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So probably also already in your own
Oh,
addiction.
yeah. Full blown.
Yeah.
Yeah, she, it was just, my dad was an alcoholic and a cocaine IV user. And when we were little. And so they fought a lot. And my dad was very violent towards my mother. So I was always the let's stop this, and screaming and crying and getting involved and all that stuff. And
Were you trying to protect your mom? Or just to stop it?
Yes, for a while, I think. But at the end, my mother was, I think I didn't like my mother the most. I love my dad.
You get angry at both.
Yeah, right. And I was like, well, if this is the way it is, when my dad finally left, I was glad he left. You know, I was like, man, finally, some peace. My mother was a very sick person. She was very.
Did your mom take the brunt of all the violence, or was it turned on you kids as well?
My mother instigated all of it. It was a very sick, like.
Their dynamic,
yes,
like their relationship.
But were you as children ever victim of it?
No, my dad was never violent towards us. Okay. He never, my dad wouldn't even spank us. And like,
was she violent towards y'all?
My mother was violent towards us.
Oh, she was?
And him?
Well,
well, they would fight.
She could be
mutually.
Yeah.
They would be mutually abusive.
As much as she could be. Yeah. My very verbal, and my dad would take it past that because he could only take so much. And
did they end up getting divorced, or did that?
My dad actually left her. I think when I was 15. My dad. It was a whole thing. She found my dad was talking to somebody. Somebody seen my dad with like this girl that was our babysitter when she was like 23 and my dad was in like 40.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, and it blew up. But when that happened, I was already, you know. Yeah. I was 15.
Well, it's part of the addicted lifestyle.
It is. Right? It's that chaos. That's all they know, and that's what you're being raised in. Yeah, it's not weird.
I picked my friends just like it too. You know what I mean? My friends are chaotic, and
sure. We migrate towards what we're familiar with.
It's so crazy. It's like I went from one chaotic situation to the next.
So you're the oldest. How many of you are there?
It's two of us. It's two of us.
Okay.
Yeah, my brother's 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
How early were you introduced to your own substances? Was that happened inside that house?
Yeah. My mother, I don't know why I looked at it like this, but I think that my mother just wanted us, like, misery loved company. Like, she was so miserable. Like, I think I was 15 or 14. I told her I had a headache, and she gave me, like, a half a Oxycontin 40 for a headache. And it was like, so my mom was, in reality, she was just like my pusher, you know what I'm saying? But she just kept me, like, I'd get home from school and my cigarettes would be on she'd buy my cigarettes, she'd have me some medicine laid out for the day. So she kept you on a steady provision of opiates? Yeah. Yeah.
And it was Oxycontin.
And you were 14. Or Vicodin or
whatever she had.
Opiates, But she
was that the same for your brother?
My brother went through the same things we did. I did, he had a better she had a better relationship with my brother than she did me. But it was basically the same thing. Yeah, I mean, we eventually didn't need mama no more. You know what I mean? As far as, I was full blown addicted, to obtain it. And I was.
What did the school years look like? Like, because while mom's
feeding you. Man, this is going to surprise you, but I made good grades, all the way through. I was president of the Beta club in the 9th grade.
Right. I was good. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, she gives me a lot of credit, but I made a lot of stupid choices, not smart choices. And so
different between smart and wisdom, right? Smart. Sometimes we lack wisdom, but we can still
Thing is, I had grandparents on my mother's side that were Christian, and we would have a break from the madness because when he retired, he left Demopolis and had a beach house in Gulf Shores. So we'd spend our summers at the beach with my granddaddy, and he would sit on the porch, and he'd drink Old Milwaukee every once in a while, but he would sit on the porch and he would just tell us about the Lord. And I just remember during all that, and they would cry when we'd have to go back to our parents because they knew what we were going home to.
They knew what y'all were facing.
You know what I mean? They knew what we were going home to, and my grandma would just ache.
Were you receptive to that message?
No, not at all.
No, okay. Yeah.
No.
Didn't seem real, didn't seem...
No, I was too busy.
Loving, Yeah,
I was learning how smoke weed and holler at females and act stupid.
It was just grandpa.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I would give him the attention though. You know what I'm saying?
Out of respect.
He
but
wanted
not
to sit me down, so I would talk to him.
Let me ask you a question. Your mom is feeding you this medication stuff, and then you go for summers. Did you have to bring something with you, or are you going through withdrawals?
I found people that got.
You knew how to find it by then. That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
I'm thinking next you've got withdrawals because those are heavy pain meds.
Yeah.
So
you found people right away and didn't do that. Okay.
I don't ever remember withdrawals at that age.
Yeah.
At all. I don't remember starting to go through withdrawals.
Do you remember any periods of abstinence at that age?
No, not really.
Okay.
And it really is, kind of goes hand in hand, I feel like, with just chaos being your familiar. I think we've mentioned it before, though, that you go somewhere and you know by looking at somebody that y'all can have this conversation.
Oh,
and
you can pick them.
You just know.
Pick them out of lineup.
Yeah.
Find them on the airplane.
That's what you gravitate towards.
It is.
And plus, I wasn't going out trying to find some distinguished job. I'd go to a restaurant and then, you know what I'm saying, wash dishes, and most of the people back there all getting high in the parking lot. And next thing you know, it's like, they got this, and it was like that.
All right. Got it. Ding. Yeah.
That's usually how it worked. I didn't try to socialize with people that weren't getting high. So.
Yeah.
So did you finish high school?
No. I dropped out in 10th grade and was all about going to get my GED, but didn't go and do it.
So you were doing well. What prompted the dropping out? Just preferred the life of chaos and...
Yeah, well, I just got deeper and deeper into it, man. The summers that I was spending, I was meeting some pretty rough people in Gulf Shores, and then I was coming home, and then I tried to go to school, and I was fighting, getting high, and getting caught with weed. Could not stay in school, hated it, even though I could make good grades if I just focused. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the pay attention type. Like, I would go to school and then go home and go to school. Like, I'd have to study. Like, my kid can go to school and maintain a B average and never crack a book at home. I don't know how he does it, but I couldn't. I had to study. But I just gave it up, man, because I felt more solace in that. It's just like...
Easy.
Yeah, well...
it was familiar, and it's like you become confident in that. This, I know what to expect, and I can do this.
Right. I didn't set no expectations for myself. I just enjoy getting high better than I did going to school.
Well, at that stage in life, it's pleasure over purpose.
Well, I also started doing drugs that had a hold of me. You know what I mean? Like, I was smoking crack by the time I was 17, and those things took precedence over anything else. Yeah, and you know what I mean? And I be using opiates and stuff like that.
What's the atmosphere at home at this point? Is it volatile still?
No, I was from place to place. By the time I was 18, I didn't. My mama wouldn't even let me come to the house. I'd been to jail countless times for stupid stuff, and it just...
No offense, but she introduced you to drugs, and then she has a problem with you having consequences.
Look, I'm telling you, it was just like, no, my mama, she was...
I'm sorry, I've just...
No,
well, it never
just that era. It doesn't. Yeah. It's like...
She's bipolar, paranoid schizophrenic.
Okay.
Diagnosed with all that. And she was very codependent, and... it was crazy. A lot of my testimony has to do with forgiveness with that lady. With that person.
I would imagine.
Yeah, it's a lot. And, even my brother knows. Me and my brother talk about things like that. Like, my brother's sober now. He's been sober for a while and got 2 kids of his own.
You mentioned some mental illness. Was there any other mental illness in that family?
I'm sure... drug-induced psychosis, probably.
Well, that's why I was asking, because so many times addicts get diagnosed with these things, but it's not actually the diagnosis. It's the drugs can mimic all that.
I remember when I first got sober, I finally went to somebody, and he was like, I was like, well, look, man, I know my mom was bipolar and paranoid schizophrenic. I just wondering, if there's something wrong with me. He's like, well, how long you been getting high? I was like, well, about 28, 25, 8 years, something like that. With about 3 years separated, like I stay sober. I'd get sober a year because I got in trouble or something, and I'd stay sober. Then I'd relapse. I'd be out.
All throughout your addiction?
There
were these
3
periods
years total. So it'd be like a year of relapse.
Oh, okay.
Then be out for 8 years and then
relapse.
You know what I'm saying? Then relapse.
Was that always instigated by a treatment program, or did you?
Just instigated by life. I was in a pressure cooker. I couldn't handle it. That's just what I went to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I did not white knuckling. I did not have any kind of foundation.
Yeah.
I tried.
Can you remember ever actually having a sincere desire to stop using? And trying.
I had. I can remember other people having this sincere desire for me to quit.
You to stop.
I was just like, look, this ain't bothering you. I mean, me, it's bothering you. You know what I'm saying?
And this is what I want to do.
Right. But what did I like?
Right.
I mean, I had kids involved. I had.
So where did they come in?
I mean, I had 3 children from 3 different women.
Okay. Hey, you're not the only one. Hey.
Yeah, but they're awesome boys. Shout out to them boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. One of them's how I found the Lord. Mm-hmm. My oldest is how I found the Lord.
So he witnessed to you?
No, man, it's a crazy story. My son was actually in. I didn't call him for the longest time. I was in a long marriage with my last kid's mother. That's the longest relationship I was ever in. And we were together, and she would want me to get sober real bad. And, I was faking it, and trying to lead a life like with addiction and be a dad and a husband. And I couldn't find a balance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's not one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I was taking opiates every day on top of a methamphetamine addiction, and I couldn't live without the opiates because my body would hurt, and then I would get high on top of that. But then I was trying to be a dad, and it just wasn't working out, and I would get real guilty, and I said, and I didn't have it. I left my son when he was 2 years old, my youngest, and saw him sporadically throughout his life, maybe 3 times. So he was 18, and he broke down on his own. He saw that he was getting drunk in excess, and his life wasn't going anywhere, and he reached out for help. Ryan Lantab called him, and he was the first person at Agape Life Gardens, and he had moved to Chickasaw. Well, I had no idea because I didn't keep up with him, right?
Yeah.
And so I started feeling guilty. I went to a funeral of this young girl that got hit coming home from Pensacola one night. It was a friend of my wife at the time, her sister. And saw how her mom was crying over that baby in that casket. And she was like 20, 21, something like that. And I was just like, my God, I got a kid out there and I don't have anything to do with it. And so I was like, look, you should reach out to him because I didn't have the guts to do it.
Right.
But she did. And my youngest son played baseball at the time, and he came to a baseball tournament.
At your invite?
I invited him. I finally had the nerve to talk to him after he messaged me on IG. It makes me nervous, man. I know the Lord was all over it because, check this out, he had been staying in Chickasaw the whole time and found the Lord. And it just radically changed his life. And so the marriage I was in was spiraling out of control. And I went to Kentucky to rehab, to a secular rehab, and came home, and it didn't help anything at the house.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nothing changed. Nothing about me changed. Like, I wasn't using.
But nothing else changed.
Nothing. I didn't know what to do.
Right.
And so.
So still white knuckling it.
Yeah. So she left. And I didn't have anywhere to go. And he called and was like, look.
Your son?
Yeah. And he was like, he called Ryan and see if you could come. Because I was about to be on the streets or with somebody else. You know what I mean? Living on somebody's couch or something.
Right.
And Ryan took me in, and as crazy as I was, you know what I mean? I mean, I was suicidal. I didn't know. Like, I was blaming myself for every bit of it. It was like having to start over again. And, you know, it just what it was. And so, yeah, Ryan had his hand out, and I started Agape Lifeguarding.
So you went there too?
Yeah, I graduated the program, became a houseman there, and I swear.
So is this towards, boy, we really zipped through this.
I'm not very detailed.
No,
You
it's
did
okay.
great.
But let me ask you a question.
It was chaotic for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was this now at the tail end of your addiction?
Yeah, that was the end of it. That was the end of it.
When
I
went there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, you can definitely see divine intervention in your son's kind of being present there at the right time, because he could have just as easily been so angry and resentful that invitation was not. Yeah,
the Lord spoke to me like audibly through him. It was like the only time I really ever heard him speak to me like that. Is he told me. I went to it was right before I went to Kentucky to treatment, and I was using during that time. And I went to Northside to him get baptized. And he just looked at me and just like with love, like I never felt. And then when I got home, I started crying. I broke down. I got on the kitchen floor and I was on my knees. And he said, you see the way that kid forgives you. It was like, that's the way I forgive you.
Wow.
And I was like, my God. But I didn't take heed to that. Of course, I kept getting high through that.
Yeah.
But the Lord, he was tugging at my heart, you know, through him.
You're throwing a lifeline.
Yeah.
Well, as much forgiveness work as you had to do with your own mom, I would imagine that your son's example for you kind of pushed you, and that it had to have helped.
I've said that many times. If he can do that,
then what? Then I can too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of angst and anger towards her, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
and I'm sure he did towards me, too. Me just not being there.
Sure. I'm going to backtrack just for a moment to fill in something that almost seems unimportant now, but I'm curious because you'd mentioned that as your addiction wandered that there were lots of jail visits. So were you said you met some rough characters when you were at your, so did crime kind of follow your addictive process?
Yeah, we're getting caught and doing stupid things to get things and
to get money.
Yes, sir.
Stealing.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So.
Well, he did say he wasn't looking for like really great jobs.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so you had to supplement with criminal behavior. We got
taking things that weren't ours.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
Yeah, things like that.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about before we went so far. We're gonna fill in some gaps and then we'll get there. So tell us, because I'm very curious, because I think you really did throw out one of the major components that everybody has to cross, whether it's a long bridge or a short bridge. Everybody has to go across this forgiveness bridge. Can you talk a little bit? You said one of the big pieces of work you had to do was forgiving your mom.
Right.
What did that look like?
Man, I just gave it to the Lord, man. I just realized that I was not moving forward. I mean, listen, I still have bouts of it. Like, my flesh rises up, and I have to still give things to him. Like, I know that certain character defects and flaws that I have to this day that I'm still having to give to the Lord come directly from just being a product of that environment and where I was, and you know, I always said, man, I want to be so far away from who she was. I never want my kids to go, man, I don't want my dad to come to my baseball games. You know what I'm saying? I don't want my dad. I don't want to not come to dad's house. I don't want, you know what I'm saying? I did not want to be around that person, and so it's just I had to learn how to forgive, right? I had to seek godly counsel because I was like, I know that I'm suffering from these things, right? I'm not moving forward in my walk with the Lord, you know. So I got around people that had been through the same thing.
And they had to
Ryan
walk you through it.
Right. Ryan had to walk me through it daily, right? With my past marriage. And what was so awesome is he was, I ain't throwing him. But he's, you know, you meet people who go through the same things. You know what I mean? They go through the same things in their life. And so he just walked me through it, you know, and just.
So how did you get there? What were some insights? Because I have kind of an idea of what maybe must have happened to some
How
degree,
you got to that that level of forgiveness? Is that what you're asking?
Prayer.
Yeah, just prayer.
Prayer and get on my face at the altar. And the more I saw it and the more I talked about it, the better it got. And I was like, look, as much as I don't want to forgive this person, I have to.
I have to.
Yes.
Right, because it's not for them. It was actually for me.
Yeah.
You know,
It frees you.
You're right. And I couldn't move forward without, you know, first I had to realize why I was so angry.
Yeah.
You know, and then.
Why was that? If you to put words to it.
I don't know. It's like, I just feel like, why'd you have kids if you were so ill-equipped to take care of them? But then I was like, you know what?
Yeah, right?
Why'd you?
You know what I mean? It's like,
But it's also still easy to point back to her and say, maybe I wouldn't be ill-equipped if you had talked. You know,
Right.
it's what came first.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to be careful too that we don't put. So there's something that I want to say, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, right?
Yeah,
in terms of your own process of this. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it can be helpful in the sense that one of the things I'm hearing in your forgiveness journey is that what happened, or it sounds like what happened, is you became desensitized to the anger, right? You kept talking about it. It got easier to talk about, got easier to talk about, got easier to talk about. Hey, I think I can make this choice. And that's valid. That's valid. But I feel like there's a piece missing. One is we have to change our perspective on how we see the perpetrator. We have to switch from seeing them as intentional to being broken, right? They were broken too.
Right.
It wasn't, my mom didn't set out to ruin her child.
Right.
She was ruined as a person herself, and she passed that ruining on. She was broken. She was broken.
Absolutely.
And to be angry at her makes sense. If we were to read this story, every one of us would go, what was she doing? But the Bible says our battle isn't against flesh and blood, but against principalities. Your mom was broken and a victim of those same principalities that you were, that I was. Right. That we are still in ways, right? I think that's the only way we can really step into and maintain forgiveness is to understand, finally step away from, this was not an intentional person. This was a broken.
Right.
And even then you have to still choose.
Right. Yeah. And like you were saying, like, where did she had learned behavior too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's generational. And what were you saying this morning? Not generational curses.
No, we are not cursed. We're covered in the blood of Jesus.
Amen.
It's generational patterns.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's good. And I walked in it, right? And I didn't know there was anything else. But God showed up, man.
Amen.
Yeah, and he showed out. And he continues to in our lives. And it's not always perfect, but I tell you, I have a relationship with these kids, man, that I never thought I would have. You know, I got my middle one staying with me, and my little one lives in Arkansas, but we just finished, 2 weeks with him?
Yeah. Were there moments that your kids expressed anger at you?
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, not really. None of them vocalize anything like that. You know, they're just so.
We know that they had to have felt something.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My middle one's, he's been my ride or die. You know, he's been right there with me ever since. You know, since he was born, he's been through it, and he never left my side. He was gone for. When she and I first got together and I went through treatment and we started transitioning into getting our own place, and, you know, he stayed with his mom. But up until then, he had been with me. Yeah. You know, from the day he was born. So then once we got our stuff together, he moved back in with us.
He's a teenager?
Yeah, he's a senior at Baker.
Amen.
About to graduate.
Good job, young man.
It's the Lord, man. Ain't nothing in me.
Amen. So you're, relationship with the Lord started in that treatment program. Is that fair to say? Or?
Well, no, it didn't.
Okay.
The treatment program was a secular treatment program, and
In
they put
Kentucky,
me in.
you said?
Yeah, I mean the one. That
Yeah,
you went to
at Agape Life Gardens.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I was there going through the motions, and they had a 40-night revival behind Northside. Well, that's where I met Ashley. And the Lord.
So it was at the tail end of your treatment through this program.
Well, yeah, it was just the beginning, though. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're right. It was just the beginning of when the Lord, it was when I felt I surrendered my life to the Lord. You know, I'd been to the Mission of Hope at 13 years before. Me and Bo went to the mission together.
Bo Ridley.
Yeah.
The one that,
Yeah.
Bo and I went to the mission together, and I prayed a prayer and caught some warm fuzzies, but I went back, to what I knew.
Yeah.
Man, the Lord just this time it was different.
Before we go any further, let's take a minute to address the man or the woman listening to today's episode and wishing for a better life. Or maybe addiction has completely overtaken a family member or a friend.
You are not alone. As you may know, the Jesus Loves Addicts podcast is produced by the Home of Grace, a Christ-centered addiction recovery program in South Mississippi with over 60 years of experience.
The Home of Grace has residential programs ranging from 30 days to 12 months. With 2 separate campuses for men and women, they are fully staffed with caring individuals who want nothing more than to guide you to a life of recovery.
Services include individual and group counseling, marriage and family counseling, classes, workshops, GED, and workforce training, all grounded in biblical principles.
And because of donations from the community, the cost of the program is incredibly affordable.
Thousands of alumni from across the country can tell you there is no other program in the world quite like the Home of Grace.
If you want to start a new path to recovery, don't wait. Speak with an admissions specialist today. Visit homeofgrace.org or call 833-55-GRACE to talk with someone.
That's 833-55-GRACE. Call the Home of Grace today.
I've heard other people put it like that, like they went back because it was familiar, because that's what they know, but something was, it had changed.
Yeah, something had changed. Like, I guess it was my God consciousness. Like the Holy Spirit was residing in me. He was working on me the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I started giving. Like, when I finally surrendered this time, it was different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was 40-night revival, and there was a different pastor every night pretty much, and I was getting there early to serve and then leaving late serving and helping set up the tent and all that stuff, and met my pastor there. I met Zach there, Zach Lambert, and met Ashley there. And she told me, I was like, well, if we start doing this thing, like we start seeing each other, you're gonna be coming to Northside. You're gonna be going to church where I go to church. And she was like,
No, I'm not.
And then she was like, no, I'm not. I go to the Church of God. And then so we did a men's breakfast at Northside, and this dude showed up to talk, and he was tattooed from his knuckles to his neck, and he started talking about Jesus in a way that I hadn't heard anybody speak about the Lord. And I was like, if this dude right here, man, it made me cry. I mean, I was like, if this dude right here can love the Lord, you know what I'm saying? I bought in that day. I was like, look. And then, so she was going to church. It was Zach, by the way. She was going to church there. And she called me and she was like, look, they're looking for somebody to come to a program that they're opening behind the church, men's transitional home. And Zach's looking for somebody to come be the house guy. And so I was like, what? Me and Ryan got on our faces praying about it. He's like, look, it's what I want. Just what this program's for.
It's to propel you out.
Right.
Yeah.
We disciple men to go disciple men. You know what I mean? And so it's like, it's an easy answer, you know what I'm saying? Just go. And so when I got over there, of course, they attend church at the Adult Church of God, and Ashley's like, told you. And I wouldn't go any other place unless the Lord He had to show me that there's another church for me to go to.
So finding your purpose.
Absolutely, man. It was a blessing.
So Ashley, we took a longer road there, but so we left you, an angry teen girl, understandably so.
Yeah.
And probably kind of sort of in the beginning phases maybe of your addiction. Where does this go from
you
here?
said your son was born, you're right at 17, 18?
I had a lot of big life events happen the year of 2004. So May 18th of 2004, I turned 18. I was 8.5 months pregnant. May 28th of 2004, I graduated high school with a 4.0. I was very proud of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I had a goal. I had a scholarship, a partial scholarship to go wherever I wanted to. At the time, Keaton, that's my oldest son, I was pregnant with him. His dad went back to school because I was in school because he had dropped out. He went back and graduated. So we had all these plans. But, the Lord was nowhere in it. So that in itself, right? And, man, it was just about to begin. The storm in my life, the addiction in my life. Keaton's dad had always been he'd always done drugs from the time we were kids. He's one of the main reasons I never did. I went there one summer. I was about 13, and he was 14 or 15, and he did acid. And he had a really bad trip and wanted me to kill him. He was trying to get me to take him out. And I was 13. Yeah. And I was one of those kids who I was pretty, innocent still. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it was a traumatic thing for me. I was like, I'm never doing that. Why would you do that? And so it was just it seemed insane to me. Yeah. And I didn't know the different things. I just knew that it was a drug, and I wasn't going to do drugs. He wanted you to kill him, and you wasn't. Yeah, I was like, no, I don't want none of that. So when I turned 18, I had my son. I turned 18 in May, graduated in May, and I had my son July 28th of 2004. He was perfect. He was beautiful. He didn't have a spot on him. I want to cry. I didn't know what was happening, though, I didn't realize that I had this kid to take care of, I just know that I thought that it would be somebody that would love me forever and would never abandon me, to only abandon him, later. But his dad was a good dad. We were as good as we could be. Young, what you knew. Didn't know what to do. After I had him, I felt on the inside, empty. Now I know it was I was lost, and I was, I had got attached to this baby grown inside of me, the excitement of it, all those things. And it was after I had him, something clicked mentally in my mind, for the bad, not for good. It was I was afraid that something was going to happen to him. I would lay him in his crib and lay on the floor and just listen to him breathe for hours. In the middle of the night, I wouldn't sleep. So I became sleep deprived, but I didn't want to tell anybody because I was afraid they'd take my kid away, or think something was wrong with me. So, I would tell his dad a little bit, he could tell that something was wrong with me, wrong. Yeah. I didn't want anybody to hold my kid. I didn't want anybody to feed my kid. I just wanted to just have my kid with me, but I didn't know what to do with him at the same time. It was it was so weird. I've never experienced anything like that, and I didn't know what to do. And there wasn't a lot of education back then. Yeah. No one really talked about it,
It's interesting, too, and I don't know if this had anything to do with it, but, we could potentially connect the dots, right? And when you were young, born into chaos, that chaos led to harm. So here, this young, you birth your own child, and it becomes real to you at a subconscious level, maybe, right? And so you become that's overprotective, right? I've got to
hypervigilant.
right.
I was so scared.
Yeah, sure.
I was scared that I was going to do something wrong or that somebody was going to do something wrong to him. But I was like losing my mind. And I just felt ugly because I had gained weight and I was so young, I was like, my body was still developing, and so everything changed.
Yeah.
And his dad was like, take this. And I'm a grown woman. I made my own choice. I don't blame him for anything ever. That's not what I'm saying. So let me say that. He is broken and doing only what he knows how to do, right? And so he was like, take this. I'll never forget it. It was a Lortab 10, a green one. I'll never, ever forget this day because I took it and I got a little sick. And after I got sick, that was it.
Yeah.
I said, my God, this is how I'm supposed to feel. This is it. This is what I thought the cure was to everything.
Right.
I laughed again. I knew how to do stuff with my baby. I wanted to go take a shower. I wanted to get dressed. I wanted to let people be around my baby.
Wow.
And in his defense, he wanted you to feel better. And that's how he knew.
That's all he knew what to do.
Absolutely.
Like, you're hurting. I want to fix you. And I know that this helps.
This is what fixes me.
Well, neither one of y'all had consequences. And so at that point, if we don't have them, we don't know that they're there for us.
That's good.
We were young. We were kids, right? Our mind wasn't even done developing.
Right.
You know what I mean? But all we could see was each other, right? Very codependent, very lost.
Yeah.
So it began then.
Yeah.
He worked in the coal mines because we were in West Virginia. It's a big thing, He just had high school education and no schooling, but man, he made, he went to college, he made money, He always took care of us financially, but we were both on drugs. We were on Oxycontin. It was really big up there, Oxy 80s, We found a landlord. Man, our rent, we had a 1-bedroom apartment. It's like a studio apartment. It was $180 every 2 weeks, and our landlord sold Oxy 80s.
She was in there, bud.
And Keaton's dad worked in the coal mines, and I was a stay-at-home mom. So that wasn't good.
So from the first one to where you're talking about now, did this just go 0 to 100 in 2.5 seconds straight? You were off and running.
Oh, yeah, it was it. Because it was already in me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And so now I figured out a way to just deal with life. Because I was very extroverted when I was high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted to do all the things. I wanted to be super mom. I wanted to be super girlfriend. I wanted to be super friend. You know what I mean? Like, everything was great, I thought. Back then, you could go to a doctor
and get them.
Tell them anything you wanted. So I was 19 years old, and I got prescribed 120 Lortab 10s a month, 60 Xanax a month, 60 morphine 15s a month.
Just
and
insane.
it was it.
It was,
you know what I mean?
It was just
the
insane.
Cocktail. They used to give you cocktails.
And it didn't matter how old we were. I'm telling the words that they rattled off was, well, we're going to give you this for this. This will be for your breakthrough pain. I didn't have any pain.
Right.
Wasn't nothing wrong with me.
Not
girl.
one thing.
Nothing.
But by the time I left there was.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. You phrased it as, this is how I'm going to deal with life, which is also how the medical community saw you.
Yeah.
But the reality is they're loading you up with ways to not have to deal with life.
Right.
That's why we don't get stronger. We get weaker behind it because we're avoiding it, not addressing it. We're numbing ourselves to it, not feeling it.
And guess what's happening? Life. It's still happening.
The whole time.
It's still happening.
You're so right.
And it's like it's about to combust, right?
But you don't know that.
I have no idea. Everything's great to me, and I don't have a problem. You have a problem because you got a problem with me. You know what I mean? Like you're the problem.
So were people already saying, "Hey, this is getting out of hand for you"?
So the funny thing about that is no, because he was with me, and I don't think he understood how bad it was because he was just getting high working. Yeah. But I was out, so then, I don't really know the events that led up to it, but my dad came back into the picture. My dad got medicine too. And he got
A lot.
Yeah, he got the fentanyl patches back then and Oxy 5s. And so we would trade. Like if I was out, I would help him. If he was out, he would help me. Vice versa, however it needed to happen. Well, then I started taking. Like I would sneak his fentanyl patches because he would be passed out from them. So I just sneak them, and put them in my kid's diaper bag, and we would go home. And we would break them down. And so what was happening is there was people like in my living room falling out, because we would break them down and put them up our nose.
Was your house becoming the drug house? Is that?
I don't really think I realized it at that time, but we are, of course, like he was saying, everyone who did drugs, that's who you hang out with.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
So my kids' dad had all these childhood friends. It was a really small town, right? So you had two options. You get high or you have sex. Like that's it. There's nothing to do. Like literally.
And probably
if you
both.
blink your eyes, it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and both. Like those are the, you get pregnant, you do drugs.
Right.
That's what you do. And so we all hung out, and we all did doctor shopping and we lived off the system, welfare and took care of our kids, and I maintained that for a little while.
The what?
The taking care of my kids, I maintained it for a little while.
Yeah.
Right.
When I was 21, I had another son. But before that, in between the two kids, they're 4 years apart, I smoked crack for the first time with my dad in my living room. He was selling crack, and I wanted to smoke it. And he could only tell me no so many times. And at the time, I was really heavily into Xanax. And so I like to do that. I like to smoke crack and take Xanax, which is very dangerous.
Yes.
But I didn't know that.
Like a speedball of sorts.
I always thought I was being safe,
That combination made me get arrested stealing stuff.
Yeah, Xanax. Listen,
I know.
You know those big coloring books? Like the big coloring books at the dollar store, like you could not stick in your pocket.
Right.
Yeah.
I used to get on Xanax because I like to color.
People don't know what they're doing.
And I would take those coloring books and just walk out. And they'd be like, "You didn't pay for them?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did." And I just walk out. Like, it made
It's
you
the chaos.
invincible.
It's
you know what I mean?
insanity.
Like,
An alternate reality.
you have no idea what's going on. And to think I would go home and take care of my kids,
That. But you can't convince anyone that it.
And you just don't get it.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you're doing. So at the age of 20, I met one of my kids' dad. I met one of his childhood friends. They had been friends for years. But he was heavily into drugs. I believe he actually has passed away from a drug overdose. He was heavily, heavily into drugs. He was doing heroin and Subutex IV. And he asked me for a ride one day to go pick something up. And I seen him get high and how it had that effect on him.
Yeah.
He was like nodding out, slobbing. And I was like,
I want that.
yeah, can you
crazy,
give me
too.
some of that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to get like that. And the first thing I ever IV used, and he shot me up because I was terrified of needles, right?
Yeah.
So I just held out my arm, turned my head. I'll never forget it. We were in an apartment complex, and I was sitting in my truck in the driver's seat. And he took the Subutex, he broke it down, and he shot me up. And I remember feeling it.
Sure.
I remember it, and I was like, this is it. I have arrived. You know what I mean? Like, I'm unstoppable. And then the big thing then...
It's like a placebo for fixing something that we know is broken, but we don't know how else to fix it.
Yeah.
That's good.
I had no idea,
You didn't know it was broken.
It was just getting worse. You know what I mean? It was just getting worse.
And quickly for you.
Yeah, very fast.
yeah.
That's why I'm like doing the math too. And I'm
Yeah. It was just like more.
Right.
Just more of whatever gets me out of this reality, And a big thing then was to go, we were 45 minutes away from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So you could go across the state line and you could buy stamp baggies of heroin for like $2 to $3, come back to West Virginia and sell them for $20 to $25 a bag.
Wow.
So you get high for free.
Yeah.
And I had a vehicle. And of course, the person who's been on drugs for 10 years didn't.
Yeah.
Their life was already unmanageable, out of control. But me, in my mind, mine wasn't unmanageable.
Oh, no, you're killing it.
Yeah,
You're doing
I got
great.
a vehicle and a house, and somebody takes care of me. So let me just go start selling heroin across state lines, right? And not to mention, we were going to the project in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Insane. Like, I know that God kept me then.
Yeah.
You know, when I think about that, I'm like, he was right there.
Yeah.
He said, I got plans for you. Just, you gonna get it. You gonna get it. You know what I mean? And that's what I picture. And so I did that for a while. And then all of a sudden, Keaton's dad wanted to do good because he was a dad. And I was like, so we got to quit getting high? I don't want to quit getting high. And he was like, well, let's go to the Suboxone clinic.
Yeah.
We went to the Suboxone, but I was still smoking crack.
Yep.
You know? And I would take his car and leave him at home and run off with my dad, and we would go, you know, smoke crack. And I thank God, because I hear a lot of stories like about people and their parents doing like women and their dads and like sexual things and stuff like that. And I'm so grateful that's not part of my story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I don't know where I would be if it was, right? Because my dad, even through that, I never loved him any less. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wanted to be where he was at and do what he did, you know? And so, and he had no idea what he was doing. He don't know. Because he broken, right? I say that if what you see is all you see, you can't see what all there is to be seen, right? And so I think about that every time I see somebody, you know? Even now, right? Like when I look at these people, even if they say something to me or have a reaction to me or are snappy, I'm like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going through? You know what I mean? Or just pray for them if I don't feel like it's appropriate, you know?
Yeah.
And so I look at that when I look back.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm able, like you said, that I started tearing up about the forgiveness thing, because that's it.
Yeah.
That's the key to forgiving.
Yeah.
You broken people, right? We're all broken. And at that point, I tried, you know, to do the Suboxone thing, but I was abusing it. I was getting Subutex so I could IV use. My Keaton and Talon is my other son, their dad did not IV use. He was not an IV user. So we were living in a double wide. My dad would come stay with us every now and then. I was hiding my IV addiction, and my oldest son was in the kids' room. We had like a couch in the kids' room. There was needles, a bag of needles, not open, but a bag of needles, and they were in the couch. And him and my kids' dad was in there, and he started to pull them out, and they found them. And I tried to blame my dad, but it didn't work. Because at this time, I had already took from my dad, and I was already doing stuff, so they was against me anyway, you know?
Which, when you say they, kids too?
No, my kids was babies. They didn't know. But my kids' dad and my dad,
wise to it. I got you. Okay.
And I say that, but they weren't against me. They were just
wise to you.
Yeah, and my dad, he was in the throes of addiction too, right? Yeah. So he needed someone to be on his side. So why not make the needle junkie look bad? And that's kind of what took place on that day. Yeah. Me and my dad got into a physical altercation. The cops were called, and the cops was like, well, he needs to leave, but no one's pressing charges because it was mutual combat, is what they said. I'll never forget that. And it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It definitely was. And my dad was handicapped, and he liked to use that. You know what I mean? So it looked really bad for me. And so I just let it go because I didn't want to go to jail. At that time, I had never been to jail, and I wasn't trying to go. But so that's when the running started. And the night that I got out, He beat me up so bad he knocked me unconscious because he had a girl at the house and he wouldn't answer the phone from jail. And I walked out and walked all the way to the house, which is probably like a 5-mile walk. I'll never forget it. And when I pulled up, she was leaving and I caught him. But because I caught him, he beat me up.